Greetings, bloggers, vloggers, followers, and potters. Dustin here from Dustin's Dynasty with another edition of this week's vlog. Doing quite well this week. It's been quite an amazing day. Of course, it's been a long day. I attended an after-hours social at my day program and got some good regards from another similar day program across the state. I will be sharing that in a post online here later today. Additionally, so today, with that being said, with the being out in the program and having such a fantastic day, I thought it would be wise, and because I have seen others bring this topic up, is the fact of why connectivity matters to an autistic person. So I guess for myself, I'm 38 and I'm not ashamed to admit that. So for 19 years, 19, almost 20, I have been going to a day program. It's a clubhouse, it's a model, and there's many of them in the world. There's about 330 of them in the world. We have one of 20 some in the state and several hundred here in the States. It's employment based, employment. Its more focuses on employment, independence, education. Those are the three pillars that basically what it focuses on. It can focus on other things, but specifically that's what our clubhouse in general does. However, it's just the connection and the connection is there as well. And it may not be that type of support or that level of support, that level of care, as we call it, maybe not be what works for an individual, but that is what was available to me 19 years ago, and I've pretty much stayed there. I've only missed a year to go to trade school, and you might say, well, I've been there a long time, and that's not traditionally the case, but I really fooled around a lot when I was in the program for a long time. I wasn't really in my point of discovery, and probably until about 8 years ago, I really got serious about what my discovery would be and what that would entail. So I really didn't start focusing on living on my own until about 6 years ago. And never had real, and then got into the path where I am today. I've been employed for 13 years. The job is mine. I own the job. Is on the supported tier. Within a clubhouse, there are 3 tiers of employment. There's a transitional, which the clubhouse itself owns, and then above it is a supported, where I'm at, where there's just a support provided. And then independent is, well, you can still come to the facility, but there is very minimal support, or that the only support is by oneself. Furthermore, through this, I really wasn't connecting with people to about. I've always connected in a way. It's just taken time for me to get the right cliche of connecting. When I first came to the program almost 19 years ago, I chose to sit in a corner, and things weren't always operating the correct way at the time. It was a very misunderstood system, so there was movies playing and things like that. So I wasn't really always communicative. Eventually, I would flourish socially, and I am very well communicative today. I was not always the one who seemed to communicate with my peers, probably until about 8 years ago. And now I communicate with my peers. Now I don't have a friendship with my peers because personally for me, I feel that is not the arena that needs to be in. I work part-time for a mental health advocacy organization, sort of the individuals that work at the that go to the program sort of mingle with my agency. So I try not to be friends with any of them if possible. I do not. I refrain from that. It's a good ethical boundary, and as such, it may work for some, but for me personally, because of the work that I'm in, it's kind of not a wise ethical boundary. So while I told you that little backstory, and while I told you about my accolade, what I was really diving into through all of that is why communicate why connection matters. So today, for example, we did have a after hours social, and that is all another part of the makeup of a clubhouse is the socialization after hours and the connectivity to make it feel like a community for people with mental health challenges. So we played bingo today, and I will elaborate on this in my post as well. For a few years, for a long time, I struggled with being a good sport when it came to bingo. I've had some frustration of whether I could be a good sport and whether that would be entail, being a positive person and just trying to not be a pessimistic person and a party pooper, if you will. It also means that, if I didn't get a prize or I didn't get what I thought I wanted, that would be something that, it would be a disappointment for me and I would be frustrated and upset. We see this many times in the autistic community where individuals do not, when an outcome is not, a not desired outcome is not had, it kind of sets the tone for the rest of the day. And I think I once I was first used to be frustrated with not being a good sport or being frustrated that I didn't get something. I was my feeling with today was to go and just have food and fellowship. We had a nice meal, and we had plenty of leftovers, which is nice. But we played games and played bingo, and it was a couple games, 7 games of bingo and a bonus, and it was very well received, and not everybody won, and sometimes that's the thing, you're not always guaranteed to win with games, and sometimes that can be hard for individuals such as myself or others who have a hard time conceptualizing or understanding that not everything in life goes our way, or that things just don't happen the way that they should. I did win. Let me disconnect here briefly, or maybe I can get up here. Oh, I cannot. So excuse me, pardon the technology of this delay. But as you see, I won this speaker here. Try to set it. Zoom is not the greatest with cameras, but it's kind of a Bluetooth speakers that, and other kind of speakers that, if you will, kind of has a kind of a way to please excuse me, I'm still trying to charge it, see how it was tomorrow. But it's very it was a very nice gift. So and then there was a grand prize, which was basically a $10 gift card for the Super Center, and I did not win that, and I'm not frustrated, I'm not upset. So I guess what you would want to say is I'm a good sport when it comes to that. That is part of getting the experience, knowledge, nuances, pragmatics of socialization. But why is this all important? Why do you say this is all important? Well, I live on my own, and I've lived on my own for 5 years. I'm thankful I have family that's close and can help me with things like getting around and stuff when there's anxiety with things like public transportation or having to. I wouldn't say there's anxiety yet. I do want to drive on my own. I just have to get the nuances and try to get the comfort level that I want to get to be able to do that. I want to strive for independence that way, and I'm hoping to do that. But it'll be done in a sound manner. But right now, my parents help me with some things, and there's no shyness in having parents, help you even in your late 30s, such as myself. For the longest time, I shied away. For the last few years, I've shied away from not letting them in my life, and through the perfect storm or the relapse that I had, I accepted that, that's not always the most ideal way to go or the most ideal avenue to go when doing things for your mental health or caring things or having to when you're really struggling or when you really need help. There's I'm very thankful that I have very loving and supportive parents and I'm able to talk about anything to them and get their unwavering support. Whatever that may be. They when I had my relapse about in late August to and they continue to be a unwavering support, but in those early days they were very supportive, and I cannot be grateful enough for that. So we talk about communication, and yes, my parents are alive. Yes, my parents are living and are great supporters, but they are also in their 60s and 70s and may not be on the same level as a person such as myself, who is in their late 30s and uniquely different in many ways, or the brain system is, or the interests or the thoughts may be similar, but they also may be very different. So, you know, um, with that being said, isolation was a topic that was brought up in another blog this week, and that they were seeking the input of autistic individuals to garner some feedback regarding what is isolation like, and how can that be an issue, because I think if we look at it from an as autistic individuals, it is kind of a comfort level to be on our own and not focus on taking care and focus on not being out in the real world and experiencing what community is like. What is that connectivity? What is that why do we need that connection? And I think for me, because I've been connected to the outside world, even if it was a day program such as Clubhouse, or working part-time or doing something that is not sitting in front of a computer, such as today's generation, the generation below me, is experiencing more and more because of the pandemic and the way of the creative world. Therefore, I know I have to get out. I know I have to be doing something, because having an idle mind is a devil's workshop, as someone once quoted to me. So I know it's very vital for me to get out into the community. Now, you may say it's easy because, I do have transportation provided by the program to go to both work and Clubhouse by the day program. But, what do I do on my off time? So recently I have lived here in this present situation for just a shy of 3 years. I will be here 3 years next month. And I moved in pretty much between resurgences of COVID. And sometimes that was a challenge, and I was very angry about it. And I think, wasn't that I wasn't grateful for my home. I was in a very desolate situation from the first home, and therefore, and being with my parents again in a very complex situation amid COVID, amid a unknown world, was very challenging. And the dynamic is, I love my parents, but the dynamic can sometimes be challenging for other reasons. But once I got here, for some time I was very angry about not so much having the home, but so much where the location was, and not being able to access things, and having to get used to a routine. And that was a challenge within itself. But it eventually it came out, and it worked at being better. It wasn't always easy, but I think, through this perfect storm where we had this setback and we've came full circle into being ourselves, our true selves. We see where we're becoming more like a social butterfly, and not so much like a wallflower. We're getting out there and we're communicating. Or I'm going to the gym, and I go shop sometimes, and sometimes I grab a bite to eat at the local donut shop. So, or maybe go to the restaurant. But I also, I have friends, and those friends don't always have to be in person, but they can be. We talk about social media being a tool if it is used correctly and if it is used wisely, and the right way, and with the proper tools and the proper safeguards and the proper knowledge. It can be a scary thing out there with social media, but if you use it right, and I think that's what also I had to learn in the perfect storm, was that I also had to use it right in order to accomplish the goal that I had set in mind, in order to take care of my socialization needs. Then maybe then it would work properly, and it can work properly. There are many channels, many venues, and even more so accommodative to the autistic individual, or anybody who has similar mental health challenges, of why connection is important, even though it may not be a in-person connectivity, and there can be in-person connectivity, but virtual can substitute that to some degree, and where it's not just hyper focusing on our own self and being selfish, if you will, but it also can focus on being part of something, or part of a discussion, or part of using your voice for advocacy, or part of your communication, and get advocating for what you need personally. I think, sometimes we discount the tradition, we discount other methods of self-advocacy, or self-advocacy altogether, but ultimately the ways that individuals on this that are autistic or have other similar communication challenges, that all forms of communication are valid, and it is AAC month, so I do want to put that little plug in there. But we have to recognize too that not everything's going to work the same way for everybody, and that AAC communicate and other methods of communication in other ways of access, it can be more quantitative for communication. It's not always, it may not always be seen as the most competent way, or it can be hard for people to assume competence. Others that do not know, are not aware of the situation, but it's very important to assume that all communication is valid. It is not just spoken communication or speaking communication that is valid. All types of communication are valid, and the ways to connect to others, it should be valid, understood, and accepted, quite frankly. So, I think that's, the big thing. And I think that's what really, in a part, helped turn my life around as an autistic person, is the understanding that communication and connectivity is essential in life. And there are people out there who care about me, who love me and care about me, and want nothing but the best for me, even though, I struggle with challenges sometimes, or maybe I did have this setback per se, and now I can really focus on what I need to do. So, I think that's a big thing. But again, I think when we're talking about isolating or becoming a couch potato, and I know there's so much in the system that we have to change as autistic individuals, or individuals in general who are challenged by not being able to get out into their community, because the world is not made for them yet, or there's not that perfect fit. I think that's where we have to use our voice and communicate, and find the way that works for us, or find ways to advocate for what we need. So with that being said, I want to thank you for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe. Be sure to I also want to thank my subscribers for keep growing. I appreciate it. So if you think I have good content, please share my content. Also give it a thumbs up. Tap that notification bell for more notifications. Be sure to follow me on Facebook and Pinterest, X or Twitter, and Instagram at Dustin's Dynasty. I'm on the web at dustinsdynastyusa.com, and I have a link tree. That handle is Dustin's Dynasty. I want to thank you for listening to this blog, and we'll take care of yourselves and have a good weekend. Stay safe out there. We have a rainy weather ahead this weekend here in my neck of the woods, and hope to stay safe and dry. And take care of yourselves and stay safe out there. And we'll talk at you soon. Bye for now.